What is up, everybody? Welcome to the chat. We are the Enter the Chat gaming podcast, which now we're not only on YouTube, we've actually got this up on Spotify, Google Play, and hopefully very soon Apple Podcast Service, whatever it's called. I don't know. I use Spotify for my podcast, but it should be up on there soon. It's still getting improved, but we're getting on a lot of podcast services. So if you are on the YouTube and you want to listen in your car, do whatever that, it is available on other services. I am your host today, Kneeckoh, with my co-host Rico over there.
I wasn't drinking, I swear.
I was wondering what you were doing. And we are a gaming podcast that talks about everything gaming. Some stuff that happened this week. Rico did a 20-minute gameplay first impressions of Final Fantasy Origins. That is up on the YouTube channel if you want to check out the gameplay for that. Toby did a 20-minute gameplay video with no commentary of Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, and that is up. I did a first impressions of Dark Alliance as well, and I had some things to say about that game. Toby and I checked out the Elder Scrolls Online console enhanced update, and then I also reviewed Mario Golf Super Rush up on the channel, and all that is on YouTube at Enter the Chat. So be sure to check out all of the gaming content. This podcast is also up there. It'll be up on Mondays, but that is all out of the way. We got all that. What have we been playing this week? Rico, I'm going to toss it to you. What have you been playing? What games have you been running through?
So there's been a couple games I've been flopping around. Two that are actually going to be videos coming up later, which I am cross my fingers that audio worked on those still. I sort of dove back into Final Fantasy VII Remake and its DLC because there is a little bit of endgame content there that I kind of want to get into and hopefully beat, even though that is a very tall order for that game. And then I've also finally started Scarlet Nexus and did a first impressions on that, which you'll see that soon. Definitely one of the better like anime style games that I've played in recent years. And then other than that, I've also been aiming to finish all the Immortals Phoenix Rising DLC because I have yet to do that.
Gotcha. Though I will say Scarlet Nexus is totally not my style of game. I'm not even remotely interested in playing it. However, the gameplay that I have seen, it is a very, very pretty looking game.
It looks very like I've seen how many anime style games that Bandai has done over the years, and this is definitely one like the better, probably maybe even the best looking one so far.
Yeah. For me, I've been playing a little bit of everything. I'll tell you what, it's been kind of a hectic week.
So you flopping all over everything with Game Pass.
Game Pass, yeah, I played Doom 2016. I beat that finally. I'm working on Psychonauts. I'm almost done with that, which let me tell you, Psychonauts it's so good. I'm so ready for the new one because it's just a very goofy, fun world, and I'm so ready. I can't believe I didn't know about this game. Well, granted, I never had an Xbox until this generation, but this game is freaking awesome. So I'm really looking forward to Psychonauts 2. What else have I been playing this week? Sea of Thieves: A Pirate's Life came out. I started playing that, and that is really cool. That's the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover there with Sea of Thieves, and that is freaking awesome. I am a little upset Johnny Depp is not voicing Jack Sparrow in it.
Right. I figured that wasn't going to be a thing because who knows how much that would have cost to try and bring him in and actually do some voiceover work.
Yeah. So, but it's super good. I'm really excited to get into the rest of it. The first mission took me like 2 hours-ish to complete, and I'm very interested in how long. I didn't even look to see how many missions there actually are for it, but it's a pretty good time. I've been enjoying that. And then I also bought the Jack Sparrow outfit for my pirate because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, you kind of have to.
And then what else? God, there's been so much. Mario Golf, obviously, because I did the review for that. I've been playing a lot of Mario Golf. And let me tell you, okay, I had some people over. We were playing some Mario Golf, and I've only been playing up in my office with just the normal controller. I haven't busted out the motion controls, but we did the motion controls in the living room, and it is damn challenging to hit that ball correctly with the motion controls. I'll tell you what.
It ain't no Wii golf, that's
no,
for sure.
And I mean, the game's fun. It's a lot of fun. There's definitely some missing content, I feel, and I'm wondering if COVID might have had something to do with that.
It could have. I mean, that would explain why it's going to be getting free updates and stuff, which I don't know if that's something they've originally planned on, or maybe, like you said, COVID had an effect on that.
Yeah, so...
But either way, at least more stuff's coming on the way with that no extra charge.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because it is a lot of fun. We had a great time. We played 18 holes and we were screaming and yelling if we got a sweet chip in or something. It was a great time. And then what else? What else? There's been another one. I know there's another game and it's eluding me right now. What have I been playing?
PS5 stuff.
Yes, there it is. Because I've been playing Ratchet and Clank because my PS5 came in Monday. Sometime. It came in sometime.
Earlier this week.
Yeah, sometime this week my PS5 came in and I've been playing Ratchet and Clank. I'm almost done with that as well. I think my internet's going to drop. Maybe not. It just came back. I don't know. Of course, I don't know what it is about this, okay? I don't know what it is about when we record this podcast that my internet decides to just take a dump and we got to like stop. But like I was saying, I got the PlayStation. I'm playing Ratchet and Clank. I'm loving it. It's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to reviewing it on my main channel. Because you are doing the review sometime, whenever, maybe it's possible for this channel.
Yeah,
because,
I need to.
because
I need to do it.
Yeah, because I got the file for the review from Rico, and all the audio was gone. There was no audio on the file, and I was like, "Oh no!" So,
which in a way I'm okay with, because God, it was so bad. It was so bad. It was like a saving grace. It's like, oh, God is giving me a second chance.
But yeah, I've been jumping everywhere in terms of games. I will say now that I have both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox, I have still been preferring playing games on my Xbox. I've just over there playing stuff a lot more than I am turning on the PlayStation 5.
Right.
I don't know why, because I've always been a PlayStation guy. But there's just something about this next generation Xbox that has me.
I think it just depends, like, getting into, like, well, one thing I've tried is, like, okay, some of these old PS4 games that I really like, let's see how they run on, like, a now, like, good hardware. And I tell you, these games, it's like playing a whole new game almost, seeing actual, like, frame rate. I gotta pop in Ghost of Tsushima and see how that looks.
I'm looking forward to playing a lot of those games because I still got to finish up Horizon. I got God of War, I got Days Gone, and I've got Ghost of Tsushima. All that I got to finish up. But
right.
Yeah, so far I've been playing a lot more on the Xbox, but that might change. I mean, right now I've just used the PlayStation for exclusive stuff. That's pretty much all it's been used for, because Game Pass has just been so good. And speaking of the two consoles, the topic of the day is the console war. That is what we're going to be talking about here today, because for whatever reason, like, to me, this isn't even a huge deal. It's not even something that crosses my brain, being somebody who just plays on both systems. But for whatever reason, this generation seems to have reignited the console war like no other. Like, it is just nuts how vocal people are being on Twitter and stuff like that, on social medias in general. It's been freaking insane. I haven't seen the console war this bad in years.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gotten more intense, where, like, people are now just, like, nitpicking at every little thing, or trying to find any small inconceivable reason why one console is better than the other, or why one console's games is way better than the other console's exclusives.
And I'm wondering if it's partly to do with, like, the launch of the Xbox One was not good.
It was a rough start for them.
Rough start. So I think last generation, it was just like, okay, there's no denying that PlayStation is just better at this time. And then they kind of picked up, Microsoft came back and they kind of started getting their shit together toward the end of the Xbox One generation. But for the majority of that generation, PlayStation just dominated. But now, with these two systems being as powerful and as similar as they are, it's just, for whatever reason, people are up in arms.
Yeah, and I'd also like to point out, when we're talking about this console wars, we're just talking about, like, PlayStation versus Xbox. We're not even going to talk about Nintendo. Nintendo is like just the third child that's just over, having its own good time, minding its own business. So, like,
like Nintendo
does their own thing.
Nintendo doesn't even care. They just do their thing. And it's funny because most people don't even think about Nintendo when they talk about the console war. It's literally like, yeah, I have an Xbox and I have a Switch. Like, most people have a Switch as their secondary console for those exclusives.
People always have, like, a Nintendo console in general as their secondary console, from, like, Game Boys to DSs to Wii, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's always something that's just like a side part of the console war agenda, because Nintendo just doesn't care. They just do their thing. They're not trying to be the most powerful. They're not trying to have the craziest looking games. They're just doing their own thing, and I love them for it.
However, I still wouldn't mind that Switch Pro.
I also would not mind the Switch Pro. And I definitely think this generation, it's probably reignited the most because of Microsoft getting their shit together. But it's
Yeah,
like Microsoft has really come out swinging this generation.
Yeah, like you said, it seemed like towards the end of Xbox One's lifespan, they were starting to get their stuff together, and now it seems for the Xbox Series X and S generation, they finally have an idea of what they want to do and how they're going to approach it. And I won't lie, like I am a PlayStation guy, but Xbox has been making big and good moves, doubling down on Game Pass, acquiring Bethesda of all developers.
Yeah, and those are definitely the two reasons I think that this console war has gotten so bad lately. Those two things right now. All I see are PlayStation bots on Twitter being like, Game Pass sucks. This is why Game Pass sucks. They hate the subscription service, and I don't understand why. I really don't. And then they're on the opposite side. All you see from Xbox are them saying, you guys said we don't have games. Well, look at all these games that we can play on Game Pass, and you guys have to spend $70. Like, it's just a back and forth thing I see every day on Twitter.
Yeah, and that's like you said with the Xbox, they also try and make points like I can go back and play this game from 3 years ago, and it's like, okay, yeah, cool, but like, why would you do that? How often do you find yourself doing that? You'd want to play like newer games, that's kind of what Xbox is doing now. They announced a bunch of new games that are going to be dropping day one on Game Pass, not just exclusives either, even a bunch of third-party stuff.
Yeah, so I definitely think that the Game Pass situation, Game Pass being as powerful and as good as it is with all of those offerings at that low price, that has gotten a lot of people to start really looking at Xbox and going, holy shit, they've got something here. And a lot of people, like myself even, like I am playing more on my Xbox despite being someone who's only played on PlayStation their entire life. So
Right.
I think they're definitely attracting an audience, and then people like myself who are on Twitter and just very excited and happy with the product they're getting are tweeting positive things about it, and then people that can't stand the idea of Xbox or, vice versa. If a PlayStation person tweets something about PlayStation, well, somebody's like, well, wouldn't that have been nice if it was on Game Pass or something? It's like nobody can just be happy with the scenario that everybody's having cool stuff. They just want to battle over who's better. And maybe it's just a me thing, but who really cares?
Right, like I mean, like at one point, yeah, I was kind of into the console wars myself a little bit, trying to defend PlayStation. But now I'm at that point where it's like, who really cares? Because now I see it as like PlayStation and Xbox. You get either one for two different things. PlayStation, like you call it, is like the exclusives machine. Because I'm not saying Xbox has bad exclusives; they do have some good ones, but PlayStation exclusives, just in my personal opinion, just hit another level. But Xbox, on the other hand, now that they're doubling down on Game Pass, you have Game Pass is just probably just one of the best gaming service deals that you can get right now. And now they're basically expanding upon it with all these new games coming day one on Game Pass at no extra charge as long as you're subscribed to it.
Yeah, it's the offering there is insane, and I agree entirely. The exclusives on PlayStation do hit a different point. They're very story driven. There's these big cinematic set pieces versus, like the exclusives we're getting are like Forza, and Forza looks insane. Don't get me wrong, Forza looks really good, but you're not getting
Forza
that
looks
crazy. You're not getting that crazy story out of Forza. We're getting Halo. Yes, it has a campaign, but I think most people are looking forward more to the multiplayer aspect of that, especially that it's being free to play.
Yeah, like Halo is basically like, even though I might get castrated for this, but Halo is basically like Xbox's own exclusive, like Call of Duty. Yeah, you come a bit for the campaign, but you don't hear people talking much about the campaigns really. But what they really want is the multiplayer.
At least not in the recent generations of Halo. In the older days, you heard a lot about the campaigns. Anymore, a lot of people aren't big on them.
Yeah, like I could not, even though I've never really played Xbox, I could not tell you like the premise or story or any bit of the lore behind Halo whatsoever.
And I know the big thing right now with this whole console war scenario is Starfield. The Bethesda acquisition, I think, really ignited this situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say not just Starfield, but any like future Bethesda games now being exclusively on Xbox.
Yeah. That is a huge deal, especially because like there's a bunch of players on PlayStations like yourself who aren't going to get access to these games in the future, and I know a lot of people are upset about that, and that has been the talk even before they announced the exclusivity of
Oh,
it.
hold that thought 1 second. What? Hold on, I'm being told to look outside my window.
I want to know what's outside his window.
Okay. Can I be gone? It's a little wet outside. Okay, I see what she meant now. Yeah, continue.
But yeah, even before the announcement of the exclusivity of Starfield, that was all anybody talked about was, is it going to be exclusive to Xbox? Is it still going to come to PlayStation?
So much so that they even like doubled down on it when they finally showed Starfield at their E3 conference.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was of the mindset the whole time that you don't spend that kind of money and not make your games exclusive.
Yeah, I would say like the most you could hope for is that it'd be a timed exclusive, but with it being Bethesda and then you have like a bigger game of Starfield and then later down the line Elder Scrolls 6, there's no way they're not going to be exclusives.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the anger and stuff from the PlayStation side is that exclusivity. And I get that to an extent. I really do get that to
Yeah.
an extent because people just want to play games, and I 100% get that, but that's not how business works.
Yeah, no. Like but that's definitely just them acquiring Bethesda is such a power move. It came out of nowhere. That basically sent the whole gaming world into a frenzy, and people are trying to theorize like, "Oh my god, are we still gonna get X, Y, and Z? Is like, are we still gonna be getting this on other consoles?" Where, while like they did say like prior commitments they're gonna honor, so like
Deathloop and
Deathloop
Ghostwire
and
Tokyo.
yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo. I don't know if that might include anything else that wasn't revealed, but they had a deal on. I don't know if there's any like
Yeah,
behind the scenes
there could
stuff,
definitely
but
be some gray area.
yeah, so it'll be interesting to see learn line to see if like it's all gonna be it's all gonna be exclusives or maybe some of them will be timed exclusives because recently now PlayStation is starting to move some of their exclusives onto PC.
Yeah. That's another thing that a lot of the people on Twitter, at least that I've seen, are arguing about is like, yeah, PlayStation's moving their stuff over to PC, but Xbox already has them there day one, and PlayStation's getting them years later on PC, and they're charging full price years later.
Yeah, true. I would say the one possible exception. I don't think there was an announcement yet, but there are little rumors going around because someone noticed like on I think it was on a Ghost of Tsushima case. It
Yeah,
got like updated on some sort of seller to where it now doesn't say like only on PlayStation or
yeah,
something like that. So people are theorizing that that's going to be coming to PC soon too, which that'd be the most recent
yeah,
exclusive to come to PC.
yeah. It's an interesting approach that Sony has to moving stuff over to the PC side of things, especially with their exclusives, because they've been, and that upsets a lot of PlayStation fans as well. I've noticed is that they get mad that their games are no longer just on PlayStation, which I don't get, because I feel like you just want more people to be a part of
Yeah,
that community and a part of that conversation.
yeah. Like me, I really like don't care because like with some of these games on PS4, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of them like looked good, but they didn't look their best. Where now with PS5, yeah, they can look even better, but on PC, there are some monster PCs out there that can make these games look phenomenal, which is what some people all want. Like I know I've seen some people, they would really love a game like Bloodborne to either get a remaster or a PC port just so they can get that better resolution because that's how much they love that game.
Yeah, and that's just the thing with these exclusives. It's all about business. Starfield wasn't a personal thing; it was a business thing. So
Right.
it upsets a lot of people, but it's just like they're speaking with their emotions. They're not thinking about the broad picture here, and that's that. For the longest time, it's been a meme. PlayStation people have said this for a long time. They're saying Xbox doesn't have games. Well, now they have games, and you're mad because they spent the money to make those games exclusive to their console.
Right. And I think the reason why they said that because for a while Xbox sort of had a reputation that they would acquire all these studios, but then later on they basically get closed down and nothing would really come out of them. Now it seems like Xbox is kind of, like bettered themselves off that, starting with Bethesda, because like it's this huge studio that you can't really like back out on. You got to support the hell out of it now that you've invested so much money into getting it.
Yeah. And I think personally, from my own opinion, I don't necessarily like exclusives. I have a love-hate because I like exclusives for the fact that they are kind of like the identifier for those particular consoles. Like when I think PlayStation, I
Right.
immediately think of like Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. Or when I think of Xbox, I think of Master Chief. I like exclusives from that standpoint, but at the same time, I like more people playing more games because then you can have more conversations about those games. So I like the idea of games being everywhere, but I also understand the significance of the exclusivity.
Yeah, like that. Like personally, like me, I think like even though they do kind of suck, I do think exclusives are sort of necessary because that's gonna be the major deciding factor depending on what you get. Do you really want to play Halo, Gears of War, stuff like that, Forza? You're gonna get an Xbox. Do you really want to play Ratchet and Clank, Ghost of Tsushima, Horizon Forbidden West? You're gonna get a PlayStation. So really, it's like it's an evil, but it's a necessary evil.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when I play my PlayStation, I know what I'm getting into, and I know what kind of games I'm going to get out of it. It's the same deal for Xbox, even Nintendo. Nintendo is pretty much an exclusive machine. They put out
Yeah.
their games, except with the Switch. The Switch is the first time they've really shown some good third-party support, but that's just kind of how it is. Every console has their own exclusive. So I think they're a necessary evil, but it makes those consoles very special. Like I love memories playing Sly Cooper on PlayStation.
Yeah, like I always think back to old memories on my PlayStation, booting up the Kingdom Hearts games for the first time, uh playing Sly, Ratchet and Clank. Never played Jack and Daxter, sadly, even though I would have loved to, so I should try that eventually.
But yeah, so it's like I get the not wanting exclusives, but at the same time, I don't think consoles would be as significant or meaningful to people as they are without them.
Yeah, it's like the only way to get rid of the console war is if there were no exclusives, but at the same time, what would make any console like special if it didn't have exclusives?
Exactly. It's the same as like any streaming services. All the streaming services are doing that now, where it's like, oh, you get this particular show or channel through this particular service. It's the same concept.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're gonna get like stuff with like Netflix. You're gonna go to Netflix because to sort of get all their exclusives like movies and show stuff. Some are good, but some are also bad. And then there's also like the actual network streaming services, which have been a big boom lately. Where if you want to watch some of your favorite shows, you have to go to that specific network.
Yeah. Where like I get it. People want to play their games, especially when we go back to the Starfield scenario, or even like Redfall. They just announced Redfall, and that's going to be an Xbox exclusive. People want to play these games, but I think at the end of the day, if you really, really want to play all of these games, you're gonna figure out how you're gonna do it. Like for me, I bought an Xbox. That was the first console of the next generation I was able to get my hands on, and then later down the road, I bought a PS5. That way, I could play all of the games that I wanted to play, and it doesn't matter. Now I do understand the fact that some people may not have the financial ability to do something like that, to buy two $500 consoles.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're pretty like lucky in that sense that we were able to get the consoles that we wanted, which were either just one or both of them.
Yes, I 100% get that. Maybe people have to choose between the consoles. But if you look at stuff like Game Pass, where it's available on so many different platforms and services that you don't necessarily need to buy the console again. It's very easy to just go, okay, well, I'll get the PlayStation and I have an iPad, a phone. I have something that I can play Game Pass on, and that's where I'm going to play my Xbox games.
And not even just that, Xbox going to be diving into, other ways to provide Game Pass. Like I think one was like actually being able to like a device you could just hook up to your TV and play Game Pass off that.
Yeah, they're doing that. They were talking about putting right into the smart TVs. They're also putting in like a dongle, kind of like a Roku or a Fire Stick that you can just plug right in, and that is just the streaming stick for Game Pass, which I think is awesome. So they're
Yeah,
making
kind
less and
of.
less expensive ways to get into the ecosystem. So you don't have to make that commitment, and you could just go ahead and buy the PlayStation and then just buy the dongle or use the streaming service on the TV or whatever it is.
Yeah, but it's like Xbox is definitely offering like a lot of different ways for you to play their games, play their exclusives in a very like cheap manner. Because it seems like they want to expand their player base, but at the same time, they're not going to make you, break the bank in order to get into their ecosystem.
And that's the thing that the next question is like, is the console war really a problem? I don't think it is, because at the end of the day,
people want to make it a problem.
Yes, that's the thing. It's not the actual companies that are making it a problem, because at this point Xbox really doesn't care. I mean, obviously they want to sell consoles, but with the, the TV dongle and putting it into smart TVs, they just want people in the ecosystem. Whether or not they're playing on a console, they really don't care that much. Versus, having to actually decide which console you're going to buy, you can be a part of both very easily these days. So I don't think it's from the companies. I mean, obviously they take shots here and there. You do notice that they take a shot at each other. Oh, I'm knocking stuff over.
Yeah, but with them, it's like nothing toxic. It's just basically like almost like friendly competition. Because at the end of the day, both these companies, they're all about games. But at the same time, they're gonna keep going at each other to sort of like raise that level. It's like, okay, we this your move.
Yeah, it's like you said, people want to make it a problem. The only place that I really see this, I mean, there is, like I said, the occasional jab. Like there was a interview the other day, I think it was Phil Spencer, said that, our games are coming out on PC day one versus other companies that are putting their games out on PC years later. That was a very clear jab at Sony. But at the same time, that it's just very rare. Versus on social media, the gamers are the ones that are actually going after each other. It's not the companies.
Right, and I think I remember even with I think it was during a PS4 conference or something like that, where there was a whole deal about sharing games with people on like Xbox and PlayStation 4, where PlayStation took the job. It was like, here's how you share games with people, and it was just two guys, one passing a game case to the other.
Yeah,
and that was like nothing like bad or anything about it. It was just, it was like a competitive shot, like as any two companies will do.
Like here's an example. I'm gonna find it right here. Let's see. Here's one. I've been tweeting about this a lot lately. So somebody tweeted on over here, I'm tired of people promoting Game Pass like they're getting paid from Microsoft. I don't want that crap. I just want quality games. Talk about games and not a damn subscription service. What do you mean talk about games? That's literally what the subscription service provides.
It's gonna say the subscription service is to play games.
Yeah.
And like not just like ones from years and years and years ago, more recent ones too.
Or like this one really was wild. This was a hot take that I could not disagree with more. If Xbox get wiped out of existence, it would not affect gaming at all. Xbox brought none to the table but a few Halo and Gears. People have Xbox because of nostalgia and false promises. Microsoft has been number 3 for 3 generations now.
And you see, yeah, that I definitely agree with that last part too. Because honestly, I think now the top two dogs, especially with how big moves they're making, is definitely PlayStation and Xbox, and Nintendo's the third. But the thing with Nintendo is that they don't care. They're just happy to give you and provide games.
And they're selling plenty of Switches. Switches are not like sitting on the shelves very long, okay? People are grabbing them and going.
Yeah, and the other thing about like if Xbox was wiped from existence, no one noticed. Yeah, maybe you might not notice. I don't know why you wouldn't, but the thing is, like, PlayStation would not be good as it is today if it weren't for Xbox. Xbox gave PlayStation that competition to basically push them to make bigger moves and do better with their games and their product and everything.
Well, and then there's that, and the fact that Xbox was the first one to have an online service and give that idea. Xbox was the first one to have a really significant first-person shooter work with a controller. If you look at Halo Combat Evolved,
right, exactly, and then, like I said, like with that puts PlayStation is like, okay, now we got to have our own, like real good online experience. This is gonna feel well on a controller.
Mm-hmm. So like, there's just outlandish comments like that, and then on the opposite side, it is like PlayStation saying, like the one I read at first, stop talking about the subscription service. We want to talk about games. That the subscription service is Xbox now. Xbox and Game Pass are the same thing. Most people that have an Xbox, unless you are a very casual gamer, like I have some friends that literally play like Call of Duty and Rocket League. You don't need Game Pass for that. But most people, if you sit down and tell them, hey, If you get Game Pass, it's like $10 more to your Xbox Live membership every month. You can play all of these games with your friends at no additional cost. And most people that you bring this to their attention jump on that immediately.
Yeah, like with the direction Xbox is going, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime in the future Xbox just switches to a completely digital game service and then just continues to provide different hardware and methods to play that service. There'll still be like maybe like some physical like games that you can acquire, but really do think Xbox is going to go into that completely digital service for games, and then that's going to be their sort of like new face and new method for gaming, their new presence basically.
I definitely think that's a possibility. Looking at how Game Pass is, I could definitely see a world where we're able to access all our Xbox games everywhere, not just our Game Pass games, but our entire Xbox library.
Yeah, and who knows, Xbox is getting like really big now. It's the big selling point to get an Xbox console or service. Who knows, maybe that's going to eventually push PlayStation to finally do their own Game Pass thing, or hell, even sort of like have a slight truce and allow Game Pass on PlayStation consoles, which would be absolutely nuts if that were to happen.
See, I have a hard time thinking Sony would ever do that, mainly just because they have PS Now, and if they just beefed up PS Now, it could just be a Game Pass service.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, they're very uptight about a lot. If we look at like the crossplay stuff and things of that nature, they're very odd about the way they decide to let players play together.
Yeah, it's like, we want you to best experience this on PlayStation. It's like, yeah, okay, but if I can't like play a game with my friends, and I'm just gonna go to another console instead of playing on yours.
Yeah.
Like you have, like, say if you just had an Xbox, you didn't have a PlayStation or anything like that, and I wanted to like hop on and play Borderlands 3 with you, and I had an Xbox, I would just play on the Xbox then, since I can't do it off my PlayStation.
Exactly. You're gonna have more people leaving that system. But back to what we were saying, we are kind of getting sidetracked there. The console war.
A little bit.
The console war only happens really through social media and people actually caring. And my thing is, why do we care? Why does it matter?
To me, it comes down, it's a similarity between like people defending their teams, like anybody would do in sports. Basically, people are constantly going to defend on like why their team is better than your team, while like the actual players, people a part of that team, might not care as much as you might. Now, of course, with some sports like football and stuff, you'll definitely have like two teams that'll have animosity toward each other, but then you'll also have teams where at the end of a game, they'll be, shaking hands, laughing, and I was like, hey, that was like real fun and all that. But meanwhile, the fans and stuff will be like at each other's throats.
Yeah, and that's a good comparison because it is how it is. But like for me, the thing is, I don't understand why. Like, for example, before I had a PlayStation, you were over there playing like Ratchet and Clank, Spider-Man, and all those ones that I really wanted to get my hands on, and I really wanted a PlayStation. Right. But why does you having fun and getting to experience those games ruin my experience playing over on my Xbox, where I have my own games to play?
Yeah, I know. Like, when you came over, I wasn't like poking fun saying like, all you got is your shitty Xbox. Fucking Game Pass ain't got Ratchet and Clank. No, I was like, as we've already talked before, and I've said numerous times, I've debated on getting an Xbox myself, and I've been wanting to get a PlayStation 2, but I've never said like I never said anything like once you get your PlayStation, you're never gonna do anything with that Xbox again or anything like that.
Exactly. It's like, if you have a console and you like those games are your style. That's cool. If you, for all I freaking care, if you play mobile games exclusively, and that's your jam, who cares? At the end of the day, we're all gamers. We all just want to sit around and play games and have a good time. Why does it matter where the hell we do it? Before I had the next generation of consoles, I pretty much played everything on Switch.
Yeah, like, and then like, here's the thing, like, even with the exclusives and stuff, like, I see stuff get announced for like other consoles that I won't be able to play that maybe I don't necessarily care about. Am I gonna go online and bash it saying like, yeah, you may have got this, but I'll be playing this on my PS5? No, I'm just gonna be like, okay, I not really something for me or that I might play, but it's cool that the people that are a fan of this like series or type of game, it's cool that they get this.
Yeah, it's like, I just don't understand the animosity. And I remember, I'm not saying I was never guilty of this. Like, I remember in high school, I, for whatever reason, really cared. I really cared about which was better, PlayStation or Xbox, and I was always on Team PlayStation.
I was exactly the same way. Like anytime I saw any like bash towards PlayStation or any bad take, I was like, now hold the fuck on.
Yeah, it's like I was that way as a kid, but I see grown-ups doing it on Twitter. Now that I'm older, I'm just like, wow, Spider-Man Miles Morales, it looks so cool. Oh, look, the new Halo multiplayer looks super dope. I want to play both of these. I don't care that I have to have two consoles to do so.
And then meanwhile, you got Nintendo. He's just like, hey guys, wanna golf?
Yeah, and that's fine. Like I don't know when it became such a big deal to identify with a console.
Right, and the sad part is that as long as these two companies keep going as strong as they are, it's never gonna end. Like there really isn't, not unless the two companies literally like bury the hatchet publicly. You see, Phil Spencer, and then I forget the name of the guy that reps Sony. What's his name?
Oh God, it's is it Matt Ryan?
It might be. I can't remember,
I
but
can't
like
even remember.
that'd be like the only way that I think that'd be at least a start to ending the console wars if they just both like came on stage during like an E3 or something and just like shook hands and then like announce like one apiece one of their big exclusives going on each other's consoles.
I'm trying to figure out who this guy's name is because it's gonna bug me. Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan's his name.
Yeah, you were half right.
I was close. I was kind of close. Matt Ryan is apparently some football player. I don't know. But I could definitely see maybe the animosity dips a little bit once crossplay becomes more available, because I think Jim Ryan actually just came on recently and said he wants to have more crossplay experiences over on PlayStation.
Then why did you give it to Borderlands 3, you fucks?
Like
start there.
I think that's like the big thing. Once you start having these experiences be meshed together, that it doesn't matter what console you play on, and it's more consistent. It's not like here's this game but not this game situation, like we can do Fortnite but we can't do Borderlands. Once that kind of dissipates and disappears, I feel like a lot of it will go down. It'll still be the debate of, oh, our exclusives are better, or that kind of back and forth, but who cares? Like you said, you're a PlayStation guy, but you still want to play Starfield. You think some of the other Game Pass stuff looks pretty cool. You're probably going to end up getting Game Pass in some way.
In some way or form in the future, where it'd be a console, maybe wait until like you said, Xbox comes out with that like Game Pass dongle that you can just plug right into a TV. Maybe do that. There's gonna be plenty of options in the future. It's nothing I'm gonna immediately do, but it's something I'm definitely debating on doing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, is like we're only 8 months into this console generation.
Not even a full year yet. Getting close, but not there yet.
So exactly, we're just very new into this. So right now, I don't see why there's this huge thing of like, why do we got to go back and forth over which is better? Why don't you just pick the one you want right now, and then in a couple years when these consoles go down in price, as they always do, pick up the other one.
Yeah, like there's no reason to be so like hostile about liking the games you like. It's like I can go online, like I should be able to go online and say like, "Hey, Ratchet and Clank's pretty cool." I shouldn't have like 50 people coming at my throat going like, "Oh my god, but Halo Infinite looks so good. Forza Horizon's amazing," or like vice versa. If I were to go on and say like, "I don't have an Xbox, but Starfield's definitely gonna make me consider getting one," and then having all the PlayStation fans like, "Why the fuck would you jump ship like that?" It's like, I'm not jumping shit. I just want both.
I just want to play all the games.
I just want a game, man. Come on.
And that's the thing, like, especially when you look at stuff like the digital versions of these consoles, in a couple of years, those are going to be pretty cheap.
Yeah, because like I said with Xbox earlier, I do think we're heading towards that phase of like all digital games and services. Me personally, I kind of don't want to I don't want it to be entirely digital. I do like owning like physical versions of games.
100% the same.
I like the pretty cases, especially the ones that have like the reversible covers. Those are always real nice. But I do think in the future it's going to be like more like majority digital games and service.
Yeah, it's odd, especially with these prices dropping. I mean, it's kind of happened every generation now. I could definitely see them, putting out a PlayStation 5 Pro, an Xbox Series X Pro, or I could even see at this point, maybe not make an Xbox Series X Pro, but make an Xbox like Series XS, where it's like a digital Xbox, but it has the same power as the Xbox Series X.
Essentially an Xbox Series X, but just a digital version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like with PlayStation, I think there were like rumors going around that they're already developing like a new PlayStation 5 console for people to get, possibly a more easy to acquire one than what they have been lately, I think. Now the whether it'll have the same power and everything as PS5s do now is yet to be seen. Right now it's just rumors that they are working on something, some sort of new PlayStation 5 where it's just like a small change and how it's made or a part, or yeah, whether it's just a small difference in like the manufacturing, maybe using a different part so they more available part, I should say, so they can get them out more, or maybe like you said, a PlayStation 5 Pro, which it doesn't need a Pro version right now, but one would be insane because how do you get more powerful than what it is now?
Yeah, that's one thing I'm thinking about with the future of this particular generation is just how do we go from here? Because right now it's just mind
Yeah,
blowing
it's
these
like
games. Where do we go from this point?
yeah, it's like I mean, if you think about it, there was probably points like I'm mainly thinking PlayStation 4 because at the time I think like this is like the peak of gaming right now, and now we're into this current generation. It's like, what the hell was I thinking before? How did I ever play at anything less than 60 frames per second?
And that is like it's wild because if you look at like the previous generation jump, the graphical jump was not that insane.
It wasn't, but
This
then
is
it's
a
like,
very severe graphical jump.
yeah, because like if I were to go back and play FF7 Remake, because that's one thing you can do on a PlayStation. I don't know if Xbox has anything like this. If a game has like two versions, one on PS4, one on PS5, you can seamlessly like switch between those versions.
Mm-hmm.
But like if I were to go back and play an old game on my PS4, I can already tell you that I will notice a significant difference in like frames or visuals. Like a game like Ghost of Tsushima, that and Last of Us 2 were probably like two of the best looking games on PlayStation 4. I haven't even attempted to see what they look like on a PS5. I can only imagine the difference I'm going to notice.
Oh yeah. And I'm like I very recently started Horizon Zero Dawn, and I after coming off the Xbox and having 60 frames for freaking everything, I was like, wow, this is 30 frames, and I noticed this. Obviously, I got used to it the more I played of it, but now that I have the PS5, I am looking forward to throwing that in and seeing how that runs on a new next gen console. Like gaming is just going. I literally cannot see how games get better from here.
Yeah, I know. It's like if they do manage to make it happen, I'm both like excited and afraid. It's like, what the hell can they do after this?
Yeah. It's very very interesting. But back to what we were saying originally.
We keep going off topic.
I know. We're all gamers. Okay? This is basically to sum up everything. We're all gamers. Who the hell cares what platform Bob down the road is freaking playing on? Who cares? If he's got the same platform, be his friend. Add him on your platform and play games together. But if he's on the other platform, why don't you go over and play games with Bob? Maybe go over and check out whatever exclusives Bob has. I don't know why it has to be such an aggressive thing.
Now I'm just picturing like this gamer guy Bob, who's just like this, really like happy hussy guy who just really likes playing games, and it's like and everybody just wants to play with Bob.
He's just sitting there. He's got a sign. Come on in. There's drinks in the fridge.
I'm gonna be ordering pizza later. Oh, what, you don't do meat? Okay, we'll get some just cheese pizzas. That's fine.
Bob's a great guy.
Bob's a good guy. Be a Bob, everybody.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, who cares? Just play games where you want to play, and it does you no good getting online and getting mad at everybody else because it's not going to change anyone's opinion.
Yeah, it's like just play what you enjoy, like what you enjoy, but you don't have to like bash people or just unprovokedly, say why the game you prefer is better than someone else's.
Yeah, if somebody else likes something, then why does that affect you? This is something I can't get over. My brain can't wrap around that. Why does it affect you that somebody else likes something different than you? I think that's just called being human.
Yeah, I know. It's here's one thing you can notice. Yeah, me and you, Nico, we're good friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally you wouldn't think that because one, I'm an Ohio State fan, and what kind of fan are you?
Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. And we get along just fine. I mean, around football season, every time I see you, I want to wring out your neck, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's like I just, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's like you can like two different things but get along. At the end, we all just like games. Like, yeah, me and him like different sports teams, but at the same time, we just like football.
And that's why this channel is so fun, because like certain stuff like Scarlet Nexus that doesn't interest me in the slightest interests you, and you can cover that. Or a game that doesn't interest us, Tony might be interested in, and he'll cover that game. And like we all get to enjoy and see these games and watch these games without actually having to, be a part of it or actually play it ourselves.
Yeah, which I will definitely say I played more Scarlet Nexus after I got done recording, and I am liking even more than I did while I was recording.
I'm interested. I'm ready to see what it's like. I'm ready to watch the gameplay footage back.
It's very addictive. I didn't think it's definitely a game that I'm probably gonna put a lot of time into. That might be the game I may be playing for like the next few days or a couple weeks, depending on how long it takes to beat.
Gotcha. I'm keen to see what the gameplay looks like. I haven't even downloaded the files yet. But
yeah,
to sum up,
yeah,
we all like games. Who the fuck cares where you're playing them? Just play games. Be excited. If you get something cool for your console, awesome. Just be like, wow, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cool that you did that. Like, when the whole Xbox Bethesda acquisition went down, okay, I was not an Xbox player. I was a PlayStation player. And then I got my Xbox. I mean, before I even got the Xbox, I was like, oh, that's really cool for Xbox. I didn't care that they acquired it. I was like, wow, that's a really cool move that they just went out and bought that company.
Yeah, it was just a big move that everybody was just like, what the fuck?
Like, obviously, I didn't see it coming. And I was like, well, maybe I won't be able to play Elder Scrolls on PlayStation anymore. I might have to get an Xbox. That was my thought. It wasn't like, fuck Xbox, I hate them. It was, I might have to get an Xbox next generation.
Yeah, like before, like I was being, I was like, well, we'll see if like they confirm games like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 because those are two big ones that come to mind. Like if those are exclusives, then I might have to debate on getting an Xbox. And now that that's basically all confirmed, I was like, shit, I'm gonna have to get Game Pass or Xbox at some point.
Yeah, but I wasn't charging like Xbox headquarters with a pitchfork and a freaking torch. All right, I just was like, oh, I'm gonna probably have to get an Xbox because I want to play these games. It's just how it is. So who cares? If you like a game, awesome. If somebody on Twitter doesn't like a game, you can leave them be and not say anything. And let me tell you, if you just turn Twitter off, it doesn't affect you anymore.
Yeah. And then like here's something I point out. It's like, yeah, both consoles are different. They both offer different things. They both offer different games. But I'd like to point something out. With controller, yeah, they're so different. But at the end of the day, two joysticks, bumpers, similar button mapping, there's no difference, so there's no reason to get mad over something it's all just games.
It's all games. It's all freaking games.
It's games. You right now sitting at home, you're not sitting at home, you're sitting in a game. This is a simulation. Wake up, Mason. Wake up.
Yeah, we definitely did some rambling this episode. We definitely rambled a little bit and got off topic a little bit, but I think the point came through that the console war is stupid. The console war is created by people on Twitter that apparently never left high school and still care about which system is better.
Yeah, just those people that need to feel some sort of relevancy that, their decision was better than everyone else's.
And I'm not saying that you can't poke fun. I'm not saying you can't poke fun. Like, if Caleb doesn't have an Xbox by the time Halo comes out, and I'm like, haha, Halo's pretty sweet, boss. And I, like, throw it in his face a little bit.
Starfield.
Yeah, it's not like me being like, well, you fucking suck because you don't have an Xbox and can't play Halo. It's just like a fun jab, like, you're missing out. Like, it's not a big deal.
I know, it's like if you didn't have a PlayStation, I don't need Pokemon, it's like, man, Ratchet and Clank, man, this would be a hell of a game to 100%. It's so easy.
Exactly. It's just like you could have fun with it without being awful about it.
Right, exactly. Like, it's all fun and games in the end that everybody should be having. There's no need for, like you said, pitchforks, torches, charging at the gate with a tank in tow.
Yeah. But I think that pretty much covers it, because if we keep going, we're just going to keep rambling.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, console war is stupid. But that is going to wrap this particular one up. Like I said at the start, there's a bunch of freaking videos over on Enter the Chat at YouTube. It'll be linked in the description below so you can get the channel. Also, it should be in the show notes if you're listening to this on podcast services. Also, all our social medias are in the show notes and in the description as well for anybody that wants to check us out there. I am over on Twitter at Kneeckoh_gaming, and all my other socials, all these are, again, in the description and the show notes. And I'm over on Kneeckoh Gaming on YouTube as well. Rico, social medias or not?
No, because like I said, I have them, but I don't post anything, so I'm not really gonna tell you to follow me or anything, because you're gonna get nothing.
Yep.
You're gonna get absolutely nothing. You want any of me, then you go down, you subscribe to Enter the Chat, you hit a like on this podcast, then you go to all our other videos, you hit a like on those because I said so, and then you keep an eye out for more shit that we're gonna put out.
Exactly. And this week we do have a lot more stuff coming. Like Rico said, he's got Scarlet Nexus he sent me a video for, Final Fantasy VII demo, remake, the DLC.
The
So we got that coming. I'm going to be doing a Psychonauts video later this week, and I'm sure more stuff is going to pop out that I'm going to be doing videos on.
Yeah, like I got to redo the Ratchet and Clank review now, one that's actually going to, have some semblance of good content.
That's a lot coming from us, so make sure you guys stick around. But thanks for entering the chat with us, and that is it for this one. We'll catch you next time.
Bye.